everybody? Welcome back. This is Take It to the Hizzy Fantasy Basketball, TITTH number 148. I'm your host, Justin Bruni. I've got Stephen Hammond with me tonight. Happy Thursday, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you, Justin?
Doing good. Ready to get into some basketball talk here. How's everything going with you? You got any big weekend plans?
No, nothing really planned for this weekend. After Memorial Day, I figure I'd kind of lay low. It's supposed to be really nice back here at home. So just be laying low and relaxing.
Yeah, pretty much same here. Going to do some writing. We got a football show on Sunday, all that good stuff. Since I have been back from home, I brought home my cornhole set or my bag set here, and I haven't been able to play. I've been busy, and then when I'm not busy, it's raining. So today it was raining. I couldn't get out there. I've been working from home, so I'm like, I can play some bags on my break, on my lunch, Screw eating. I can throw some cornhole, right? So, but it's just been raining. It's raining right now here. Hopefully it doesn't mess up the internet too much. How are we looking tonight? What are your best bets for this evening?
So best bets for this evening, I have two. I really like the Suns money line. We'll get into that a little bit more in depth later. I also have Macau Bridges over 11.5 points. It's a prop I've been riding for a while. He does always make it a little close. Last game I think I got it at 10.5. He scored 13. But he usually puts a bunch in at the first quarter, and then you're kind of hoping he can get some later in the game. So I like it until I see it get up into that 12.5 area. I'm just gonna continue to play it. Someone's got to put in the points for that team. Aside from
exactly, I like it a lot. Mikael Bridges has been stepping up recently, so I like that, and I do like the Suns money line as well. My picks are pretty similar. We got the Suns +3. I do like them tonight, but I'll take the points with the Lakers still at home. I've got the Trailblazers money line. I like that combo for a parlay. And then I also really, really like Nicole Jokic and Robert Covington, both over 1.5 1.5 3-pointers made. Jokic has hit that prop 4 out of 5 times in the series as far as games go, and Covington is 3 and 2. So he's had some slower games, but he really picked up his 3-point shot in the last game. So I'm riding with him, as I like the Trailblazers to win tonight as well. Let's jump into our Monkey Knife Fight props. If you guys haven't checked out Monkey Knife Fight, please be sure to do so. We got a promo code you can use. They'll double your deposit up to $50 with promo code to the Hizzy. Let's see. First one up here. Big numbers. We got Dame Lillard and Nicole Jokic. Dame coming off a 55-point performance. His total now is at 34.5 points. Nicole Jokic is at 32.5. Where are you falling here, Steve?
I'm going to take the over for both of them. I like the over in this game altogether.
Right.
I think with Damian Lillard, their backs up against the wall, seeing as it's 3-2, he's going to pull out everything he has. We saw last game how amazing he can be, really. I mean, his shooting from deep is huge. So I think he hit the over last game just in 3-pointers alone. So even if that regresses a little bit, I mean, you still see him getting to the line. You see all that. Jokic, I'm maybe not as confident in. I think 32.5 is a tall number for him. He did hit it last game. But they're going to do everything that they can to close this one out. They don't want to see us go game 7 because they know, just as I alluded to it, how deadly Dame can be. They don't want to see him back, in a game 7. No one does, I feel like, in the NBA. Another prop I liked, just kind of touching off this, was I like Jokic for a triple-double. You're getting it at plus 465. So maybe if he doesn't hit the over on points here, he still gets it done, passing the rock, doing things like that.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Jokic has actually hit this number 4 out of 5 times in this series so far. Dame has only hit it 3 times, but that's literally like he's at a half a point hook on game 1. In game 1, he had 34 points. The prop here is at 34.5. So let's just say for hitting its sakes, he nailed it, right? And that game, he shot 5 for 12 from 3-pointer. Those numbers have only gone up, throughout the series. He did have a 1 for 6 game in that. They won 115-95, and he only hit 1 for 6. So that was one of the nights he was actually struggling. But I'm going to take the over for for both as well. I have the Trailblazers winning. I feel like they're going to come out hot. Last game they started off freezing cold. We'll get to that here in a little bit, but I think that Dame is really going to step up and really set the tone early. I like that Jokic prop. I do think that he does get into the mix. Jokic is just the identity of their offense, whether he's hitting from beyond the arc, post up jump shots at the free throw line. Everything just comes easy for him, every look. So, and they just give him that little bit of extra cushion on the outside, and his jumper is there. So I'm going to go with the over for both as well. Next up, we've got LeBron James, big number, 30.5 points. Devin Booker at 27.5. Where are you falling in line here?
Yeah, so last game, I know Devin Booker was sitting right around this number on DraftKings, and I was going to take the under last game. I just stayed away. He hit, I believe, 33 points. If they really want to put this Lakers team away, I think he's going to have to hit over that. And similar to that other series I talked about, you don't necessarily want to see LeBron in a game 7, and possibly, I don't know what the latest is necessarily on Anthony Davis. Is there any chance he's back for game 7?
It's really hard to say. He was flirting with warm-ups a couple of go-arounds in that last game on the first. Chris Paul upgraded to probable. Anthony Davis still a question mark this evening. So I'm not betting on him being in, and if he is going to be in, I'm thinking 22 minutes at most. That's about the workload that he had in the game where he was injured a couple of games back. I'm buying into the Suns this evening. I will go over for Devin Booker, and I'm still thinking way under for LeBron. Am I the only one that's assuming that like LeBron hero ball isn't showing up tonight?
I don't think you're wrong thinking that. I think if I'm on the side that the Suns are going to win, if I was on the Lakers, I'd take the over there. Just because like someone's going to have to try and close that 30-point gap that we saw last. And I mean, Schroeder, he didn't hit a shot last game, but is he the one that's really going to close that? You need more than 24 points from LeBron. But he's going to have to be on. He's going to have his 3-point shooting clicking on all cylinders. There was a prop I saw over. It was actually just like this, 31 plus points and the Lakers to win. I believe it was plus 380 for that. I just can't believe that. I feel like if the Lakers are the team to take home the win tonight, I mean, be mindful, they're still playing at home. I think it's going to be because these reserve and role players really step up. If anything, I'm more likely to be in on a LeBron assist prop than I am his points prop, because an assist I can probably get like somewhere like 7 and 8, between 7 and 8.5 assists. I'll take that, because I feel like LeBron is going to try to distribute. He's not going to actually just be the ball hog, ball monster that everyone's expecting tonight. And I feel like that's what we're getting out of a number like this, because he hasn't hit over 30 points in any of these games so far. I don't even know if he's came that close.
24, 25, 21, 23, and 18. And in the game he scored 18 was his best 3-point shooting game. His last outing. Or I'm sorry, the previous game was 6 for 10. I'm sorry. So 6 for 10, 60% from the line, 24 points. Before that, 1 for 7, 1 for 5, 4 for 9, 3 for 7. 3-point shooting hasn't really been that consistent for him. And I feel like, early on in the series, they were just able to do more with that creative roster management that we were seeing, with Anthony Davis there. Let's just jump right into the preview. I have the Suns at +3. You have the money line. Let's talk about the total a little bit. We're at 207 points, I believe. Yeah, 207.5 is what I'm seeing. Where are you at on that? I really like the under still.
If I had to pick, I was saying earlier today that if I had to pick, I'm going to take the under, because it's just that number is just kind of climbed like a half point every game lower, and they have just every time came farther and farther away from hitting the over. But it's one of those where if you bet the under and they go over, you can't be that shocked, because it's an incredibly low number. But if you bet the over and the under hits, well, every game this series I think has trailed to the under, and they've barely put up 200 points in every single game.
Yeah. It's 4-1 to this number specifically. Yeah, to this number specifically. So I believe it was. Let me pull it up here. Game 2.
I think.
They hit a 211, and that's only by 4 points.
Right?
So I'm expecting the under still. The under's paying 4-1 in this series thus far, and just the strength of the Lakers in general is their defense. The Suns, to me, it's their fast break offense. You know, they can really move the ball really well up the floor, score points really quickly. You know, it's not like they're like, you know, heading above like 3-point shooting or anything like that. The Lakers, oddly enough, they lead the playoffs right now in turnovers. So that's a really key stat for me. They really need to trim down the turnovers. Rebounding is there. They're out rebounding Phoenix so far. The Suns have the field goal percentage advantage. 3-point percentage is nearly even, and the Suns have the most assists and points per game so far. But again, those are very close. The Suns, they're getting, you know, that extra look. They're getting that ball movement. I guess that's kind of what you expect, you know, when you have a guy like Chris Paul on the roster. It's so weird, man. We've gone, you know, I felt like the start of this series we're like Lakers, and then, you know, we saw Chris Paul get hurt, and we're like, all right, yeah, Lakers again. And then Chris Paul's fine, and we're like, yeah, all right. I mean, if Chris Paul's going to be fine, then Suns are looking like they're going to make a comeback with Anthony Davis now. It should be the Suns in 7. Are you still confident with that?
Yeah, I think they could. I mean, really, I think they could close it out tonight. After seeing the performance of the last performance the Lakers put up, there's a big difference in the play between the two teams. I mean, like I said, it was a 30-point gap at one point, 32, I think it even reached. And I'm not confident in them, because who's going to be the one that steps up for Anthony Davis? I mean, Andre Drummond, he kind of kills their floor spacing and doesn't really fit their offense that great. He's better as playing like the number 2 to Anthony Davis when he's in there.
Right.
I really think that the Suns are going to close this one out tonight. I think Chris Paul, he knows that they have to get it done tonight, because you just can't keep giving this Lakers team life.
Yeah, agreed. I really hope that they do. You got the money line, I got the +3, so we're well invested for certain. Trying to think what else we have here on the game itself. I bought up the point from 2 to 3. You're taking a money line, and we're both on the under. Is that pretty concise?
Yep.
All right, cool. All right, let's move on to the next one. We've got Nuggets and Trailblazers tonight. Really looking forward to this one. We have a total of 227.5. We'll start there. Where are you at for the total? Last game we hit like almost 300 points.
Yeah, I'm same boat. I'm going over here. This whole series, I feel like, has just been back and forth of them trading bucket after bucket, whether it be, you know, Dame coming down the court hitting a 3, then you come down, and even Austin Rivers was getting in the mix last game. Like, I think this is going to hit the over. I think out of the 2 games tonight, this would be the one that I pick to bet the total, and I would go over. It is a little bit high, but I that wouldn't scare me when this could easily go another double overtime game.
Oh God, I hope it doesn't. I really hope I don't have to sweat out a money line win that hard for Portland. They're playing at home tonight. I'm feeling like this, you know, from the shape of it, this was a 7-game series from the get. So I'm hoping that's just, you know, how the way we're going to unfold here. What was it? They won 147-140 through 2 overtimes in that last game. I just can't believe some of the production that Denver is getting from these reserve and role players. I was telling you before the show, Campazzo, Austin Rivers, Monty Morris, and Marcus Howard are contributing for 35% of the total offense. It's like 211 points out of like 600, 599 or something like that. I saw that. I was like, wow. I just don't know if it's sustainable, you know, across, you know, this whole 7 games here. Tonight, I'm taking Portland. I'm still kind of riding with that same theme that they just have more depth. I like their bench players more. I like their starters more. You know, the 1 through 3 for the Denver Nuggets is just not that appetizing. They're running Aaron Gordon at the 4 right now, and you know, eventually, I just can't see, you know, them continuing to have that success. You know, in the last game, the Trailblazers started 0 for 8. There was a 13-point gap before you could blink. You know, they were constantly playing catch up. Then they caught up, and then it was just a constant back and forth on offense. And I feel like if they just get a little bit of a better start tonight while at home, they're just gonna sail away with this one. What do you think about a game 7? Let's say Portland nails it tonight. They go back on the road to Denver. What are we thinking? Other than fireworks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit biased, but because I'm such a Dame Lillard fan, but I like the Trailblazers to win it. I think
Mhm.
because how you alluded to with those players making up as much as they do of that
It's wild.
team, it's not something that you are. It's make or break in the game
Mhm.
seven, and you know what? Usually, players like CJ McCollum and Dame Lillard are ones that step up and
Mhm.
put up the points and win in clutch time and can handle pressure. Whereas I don't know if you're going to trust a Marcus Howard and Campazzo. I mean, they just
Mhm.
haven't had that experience to really get there. Being
Right.
at home does help them a little bit. You just saw that they're able to kind of keep the Trailblazers at bay last time they
Mhm.
played. But shoot, as a basketball fan, that'd be something I'd love to see Game 7.
Oh gosh, yeah, and I mean we're betting on it, literally
Yeah.
betting on it. Some key numbers here. Denver is third in assists so far in the playoffs. They're getting a ton of ball movement. I think that kind of alludes to the success of those guys, just getting that extra open look, and really just having trust for those guys coming off the bench and really contributing at the 13th hour. Again, I don't believe it's sustainable, so that's why I'm picking Portland to win tonight. And I do still believe Portland will win this series. I do think that their depth and their true talent will rise to the top. They are third in 3-point percentage shooting in the playoffs, and they're fifth in field goal percentage shooting, and that they're still ahead of Denver in both of those categories. So, late scoring, we already saw it in the last game. My goodness, I think in the first overtime, they were down by 5 with like 40 seconds left in the first overtime. Still pushed them into a second overtime. To me, the biggest factor why they lost that game was, the guys like Covington, McCollum, who was the other one, Norman Powell. They went 0 for 6 in that second overtime, and the team lost by 7. That's big. That's big. So those guys need to come to play. Apparently not all 4 quarters, but an extra quarter as well. Essentially, with maybe some expected extra time or extra minutes in overtime. So if those guys finish the game and actually start the game as well, because they all 3 of those guys also had very poor first quarters. If they start and finish the game like they played, the second quarter through the first overtime, they would have won. And like I said, that's why I just feel like they're the better team. Portland Trailblazers also taking care of the ball very well. The turnovers aren't there. It's just from these bad stretches, these bad missed shots. They've also outscored Denver in the series. Points, 3-point percentage, field goal percentage, like I mentioned, better in turnovers. Denver, they've got the leverage with assists, rebounds, and steals, and somehow Portland has more blocks than them. I was kind of surprised about that, just given the size differential. But anything else you want to add in here to the series? It sounds like we're both on Portland still, despite them being down 3-2.
Yeah, no, I think that this is a great one. It's kind of crazy if let's say the Lakers lose tonight and the Clippers lose their next game. This West is really wide open. We're gonna see you got teams like the Jazz, the Suns, Trailblazers, just like those team-oriented teams that aren't necessarily like star dominated that really are going to have a chance to win the West, and the Jazz are going to be a tough team to beat.
They are, especially with that defense they play in the paint and the 3-point shooting. They have the total package for sure. All right, let's move on to the Clippers and Mavericks. They're actually playing tomorrow. Opening line right now is a 2.5-point spread in favor of the Clippers on the road. Over-under is at 216.5. Right now, the Mavericks are paying plus 115 at home. Give me the Mavericks.
Yeah, I mean, you're at home. What a way to close it out. You probably weren't expected by too many to even win that series. Do you have anything on how the total has been in this so far?
I will in a couple of seconds.
No, I mean,
216.5 is the number that we're looking at. So their last game, 205, that's 0 for 1. The game before that, 106-81, 0 for 2. Let's see, 118 to 108, so that's a 1 and 2. 121 to 127, so 2 and 2, and 216 even on the first game, so 2 and 3 because of the half point.
Just talk about split down the middle. I guess
it's going to move. We're a day ahead, so I still see some either a 213 or a 218. I feel like we'll get some movement in there.
I think I'll take the over. I think you're going to see that the Clippers are going to be, they're on the line, and you're gonna see stars like Kawhi and Paul just put in more baskets. I don't think it's enough though to get them the win. I even when Kawhi had that shot there at the end of the game, he couldn't do it.
Mhm.
Rondo chewed him out a little bit. That was hilarious. But no, I like Luka. I mean, he's been absolutely insane this season. I think he's had four 40-point games in the playoffs in just 11 games. He's a generational talent for sure.
He also leads the Mavericks in rebounding right now with 40 rebounds in the playoffs. The Mavericks in that turn, they have the fewest amount of rebounds in the playoffs. So I really like the Mavericks coming in, but I don't know if it's going to be sustainable up against potentially what are we looking at here? The Jazz.
Mm-hmm. I don't think they stand a chance. I think they're just
not great.
They're multiple pieces probably away from winning a championship, but it's what you like to see. It's it's a step in the right direction for the whole franchise.
Oh, yeah.
You're really getting to see Luka is that guy.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. For the Mavericks, they really just need to keep hitting the 3-point shots and not turn over the ball. They lead the playoffs in fewest turnovers per game. I'm sorry. Second in 3-point percentage. The Clips are at 7th somehow, and they don't even have any single player averaging over 40% shooting right now from beyond the arc. Crazy to me. Clippers need Reggie Jackson, Paul George, Kawhi to all step up from 3-point land. They're like second in 2-point shooting percentage, but it's just not enough, especially when you have Dallas, who literally just wakes up and walks down the court and makes a 3. I mean, it's just like it's nothing to them. The first quarter scores are just absolutely ridiculous, and I just don't believe the Clippers, through another 2 games, can keep up with the pace that Dallas is playing at. The fast break, the constant 3-point shooting. If they run Luka cold somehow, they can throw him off the shelf for these next 2 games. They might have a fighting chance, but I'm just not buying into that. I just don't see it happening, which is crazy because the Clips are literally dominating the Mavericks in every statistical category except for turnovers and 3-point shooting, like I've already mentioned. So assists, rebounds, field goal percentage, points, steals, blocks. The Clips have the advantage in all of them. They're still not winning. It's absolutely ridiculous. And what's really funny to me about this series has been the point spreads. Like every time I've gotten over 5 points plus to the Mavericks, I've hit. I think it's like 3 out of whatever games we played, 3 out of 5 games.
5, yeah.
Yeah,
wow.
I've hit every time. Mind you, I did lose one. I did lose one when they were not favored at home. So keep that in mind, too. The Clippers won back-to-back games in Dallas already. Are you kind of buying into that's going to be an issue for the Mavericks tomorrow night?
I will give the Clippers credit because they could have easily just tucked their tail in between their legs and, packed it in and said, we're done. They did.
Like I said they would do.
Yeah, I was on the same. I was in agreement on that. And then when I was watching those games over last weekend, I was kind of like, okay. And there was, I don't know what game that would have been, but Friday night, would that have been game 4 then? Or would that be game 3? Whatever it was.
Game 4 was the 30th, which is what I think you're thinking of. Or no, that would have been the 28th. The 28th, which is game 3.
Yeah.
Yep.
So game 3, the Mavericks came out. They were up at one point like 26-6 at one point. They went out on a big 20, and then they just kind of choked it away. The Clippers just kept pestering them. To something you said, though, where the Mavericks are shooting the 3 ball better, one of the only things they're doing better than the Clippers, it shows that that's kind of what the NBA has, just evolved to and how important that is for them. And the Clippers just are not that with Kawhi and Paul George for that matter.
Yeah, it'll be interesting for sure if Dallas pushes forward here, them going up against Utah, who shoots like 40+ threes a night. So that'll be pretty crazy to see, and then that will happen in that series if that's the case. You're just going to see a bunch triple play out here representing the chain. That's because we hot. When the picks are rolling, the chain is out. Got to match the mic. But yeah, in this series, it's just wild to me how the numbers are kind of falling into place. Like I said, Clips are just leading in all of these categories, but they just aren't having success in the win and loss column. I just don't get it. Obviously, the missed games, the lack of cohesiveness, it's all adding up. We kind of mentioned it last week. We also kind of said that would lead to them getting swept. But hey, at the end of the day, it's the Clippers. Like, they have a ton of talent there. What are they missing though?
The Clippers?
Yeah.
Big men, probably someone to sit in the paint for them and actually be like a force down there.
1,000% correct. 1,000% correct. Do you know how many minutes Serge has played in the series?
I would guess he's maybe averaging 15 a night.
No, he's played 18 minutes in this series.
In the whole series?
18 minutes.
I know he did get like 6-1 game. Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And
I guess
they're
just
for?
Like, what is he doing?
Just accrediting that to the back injury. I don't know. They pissed me off during the fantasy regular season because I picked him up. Yeah. Blake told me, go run A. You need rebounds. Go pick up him. I picked him up. I'm like, I'm set. And then he just sits out for the next, I don't know. It had to have been months and months he sat out.
Yeah.
You were just kind of like, what's going on here? So, yeah, I think they just lack a big post presence on offense and defense. I mean, it can go both ways. Someone just to get some of those inside touches and then someone to really protect the rim, grab rebounds for him.
Right. Yeah, if they somehow close it out, I still don't buy either of these teams going ahead of Utah. No. They're Utah just too strong in the paint. They have the consistent shooting, the ball movement, the 3-point shooting is lights out, the volume is there. I just don't see it. I don't see it. All right, let's move on. We've got a couple of series wrapped up. Before we get on to some of these Eastern Conference series, if you haven't already, please be sure to smash the like button, share the video, and follow us on youtube.com/take it to the Hizzy. Let's go. All right, so the first series that ended was, I don't know if it was the very first one, but Philly and Washington. Philly took it home 4-1. Philly's moving on to go up against Atlanta, who took down the Hawks in a 5-game series with 4-1. What are you thinking here? I mean, we're hearing about a right meniscus tear for Embiid, saying he's day-to-day. I guess I'll just start it off with, can the 76ers beat Atlanta without Embiid?
Yeah, I really think that they can still beat them without Embiid. I think it'll be a lot closer. I mean, you saw that Seth Curry last game. He stepped up, had 30 points for him. So they'll need a lot of that from everyone. But we've touched on it before in the show that they're very, very deep, and they have guys who could do their role, whether it be, Seth Curry, you got Harris, and Harris will become, if Embiid's out, he's going to be kind of the X factor that needs to step up and really fill a bigger role than he's been playing. So I still like them. I mean, the Hawks, they beat the Knicks. The Knicks turned out to kind of be a little bit of frauds. But when I was watching that game, though, last night for the Hawks, one thing I noticed was they shoot the ball very, very well. So, always thinking you're going to outshoot them. I don't know if you can do that. Some of the even no-names that they have are banging shots. But with Embiid, I mean, this thing probably goes 5, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually think that if Embiid doesn't play the majority of this series, Atlanta's just going to take it home because you still have Clint Capella and John Collins who are really answering the call in the paint, especially in that series with the Knicks, who, to their own right, I mean, I agree with you. The term fraud is probably the best way to describe the Knicks right now. Honestly, I got to lay it on the shoulders of Julius Randle. The man didn't show up for the playoff series, and he was the driving pulse of that team, especially on offense all year. And without him playing at those, at that elite level, 27 plus every night, it just wasn't going to happen. And I was one of those people that was expecting exactly that from Julius Randle. So, I'm disappointed because I did pick the Knicks to move on in a 7-game series, and I didn't even get past Game 5. It was kind of embarrassing, honestly, down the stretch. Last week, I was just begging, stop it with all the ISO Derrick Rose. We need Julius Randle to be the setting the tone here, chewing up some clock. Rose just comes down the floor, ISO up, and he's getting it out. And that didn't do the Knicks any favors, unfortunately. Kept him in some of the games, but just didn't affect the win total. In this series, I mean, I like Seth Curry, but he was going up against Raul Neto. He's going to be going up against Boban Bogdanovic, Veliki Baller Bogdan. I don't think he's going to have as easy of a time. You also have DeAndre Hunter there that's going to be able to lock in on him a little bit. The guys that really need to step up if Embiid's going to be out, it's Ben Simmons, it's Danny Green, it's Tobias Harris. You're going to need Ben Simmons out there and all of these games playing 35 plus minutes and just getting used anywhere from 1 through 3. Getting thrown on the best shooter.
Danny Green and Seth Curry. I mean, those are interchangeable to me. You get a little bit better defense with Danny Green out there, obviously. Yeah. But, I mean, he's a little bit more of a streaky shooter, whereas I think Seth Curry's more – so it's like that trade-off, more consistent offense, a guy who can hit the three just as much. I do like him for his defensive thing. Deandre Hunter, I think he has – when I was watching that game last night, he's shown up. Like you said, John Collins, Clint Capella. Clint Capella, though, it's not too hard to silence him. I mean, he's going to grab his 14 rebounds, which he'll do every night. But him in the scoring wise, I'm not. I think you could even stick Ben Simmons on him, and
sure,
slows him down greatly.
They need to put Ben Simmons on Trae Young. Like just let Trae let Ben do his thing on Trae, because I mean that's their best shooter. You have to put Ben Simmons on him, in my opinion. The man's a point guard. Yeah. He can play 1 through 3, right? So let him take on the best shooter.
Yeah, I just wonder though at times if that makes him ineffective when you see then. I mean, Trae Young's going to be pulling up like he does from deep. Does Ben Simmons have enough of a? I guess maybe that length differential does play a factor on it, and maybe he can pick him up, right as soon as he crosses half court to try and take those 3-pointers away from Trae Young. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how they play, especially if Embiid is nowhere to be found, because they're going to have to quickly do some rearranging, and Dwight Howard's going to be getting a lot more minutes.
Yeah, Mike Scott as well. And then, of course, we're still going to be seeing a ton of Tobias Harris. Like, Tobias Harris will have to continue to score a ton, 25, 27 plus every night if Embiid were to be fully out. And, yeah, Seth Curry's going to have to just hit open threes. I just don't think he's going to have as easy as a time as he did up against the Wizards. Again, Raul Neto versus Bogdanovich or Lou Williams, coming off the bench. Even Kevin Hutter was, with some length on him, right? So I feel like, there's going to be some opportunity for him there to be the guy. And especially in this last game when the Wizards were, playing to the pace of the 76ers, he did answer the call, and he did really get it done. Other guys that they have, other depth pieces that I like personally, the Shake Milton, Matisse Thybulle, Furkan Kormaz, those guys will be needed as well. Again, this is all pending, the health of Joel Embiid. Like, is it as bad as they say? Is it, not a big deal? But if he wasn't finishing the series, I'm a little bit worried about it, just because you really don't want to give any teams any chance whatsoever. The Wizards, I think, kind of were the exception to the rule, just given the disparity of talent between the two teams. So hopefully it shakes out. I think we all want to see him play, but I think that they are in trouble, if he's not going to be a full go of it here. Give me Atlanta in 7 or Atlanta in 6 if Embiid somehow misses the series. Give me Philly in 5 if Embiid plays every game. I think that, pretty simple. Next up, we've got the Nets and the Bucks. Bucks handily 4-game sweep over the Heat. Brooklyn almost a sweep, 4-1 over the Celtics. Man, this is going to be the series. I mean, this is going to be quite the treat for the second round here. I'm not sure which would be better, if it's Utah and Dallas or the Bucks and Milwaukee. I'm probably going to say Bucks and Milwaukee, just because of just the kind of different ways both teams attack each other on offense. So far, Brooklyn, I think they're second or third in the playoffs in total scoring here. Obviously, we don't have any opening lines. If I were to say, because the first game is going to be in Brooklyn, Brooklyn has the home court advantage. If I said Brooklyn -2, Bucks +2, game 1, which direction would you go?
I'm going to go Brooklyn -2. I think if they're going to win, the Bucks, I think they're going to have to steal most of them at home, and then they steal maybe a later one on the road.
Right. Yeah, the Bucks have the size to really take the battle inside up against the Nets. They really have to play small ball, in my opinion, really slow down the pace, because the Nets, they're still going to try to speed things up. Like when, if the Bucks really try to slow it down, the Nets will just as surely come up the floor and try to hit, quick threes, transition threes all day, right? So if you can get them to bite into that, and they're missing them, they're not hitting them that day, then you might be in business. But that's going to be really difficult with James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and KD.
Yeah.
Like the scoring is just endless. Jeff Green, Joe Harris still there. It was funny. Giannis was asked like, "Oh, what do you think about these guys?" Like, "Oh yeah, they've got really good players." KD, Kyrie, Jeff Green. It didn't even reference James Harden. So that wasn't smart. That wasn't smart, right? Giannis. That's about just as stupid as booing Melo in Denver. They're just one of the things you just shouldn't do. Don't poke the bear, Giannis. I don't care how big you are or what advantage you think you have in this one. I still like the Bucks in the series, but in that first game, I'd probably take Brooklyn as well at -2. I just feel like the offensive rebounding or total rebounding in general is going to make a big difference because they will be able to slow things down. They're going to have more possessions, in my opinion, and that's just going to equate to more victories at the end of all of it. So I'm going to take the Bucks in 6. I think they do close it out early. Would like to see a 7-game series, but then the Bucks probably wouldn't win it. So I think the Nets though are still odd favorites to run the floor here. Let me take a look. Plus 160. Plus 160.
Just for the East?
No, to win it all.
Oh wow. Yeah, I can see it. I mean, you get a lot of people probably betting on them too, betting that down. To come out of the East, they're actually favored -150. The Bucks are the next option, so they're essentially saying whoever wins this series is going to go to the finals. They're at plus 260. I mean, the key for me for the Nets, you just got to get Giannis to the line. Just foul him. Use your bench guys to just really run up those personal fouls. Because if you get Green or Claxton into trouble, it's not going to be pretty. They don't have the depth at the 4 and 5 to really run up against the Bucks here. Brook Lopez has actually answered the call so far. Again, it was Miami. But at the same time, really like what he's doing. Bobby Portis is going to get a little bit more playing time in the series because Dante DiVincenzo is out for the rest of the series in the playoffs. So I expect to see some Bobby Portis floating in at the 4 and at the 3. Bryn Forbes is going to be at the 2, I think, as a starter. Is that a big deal for you? Like, are we concerned that like James Harden and Kyrie are just going to have their way up against Drew Holiday and Forbes? I mean, on defense, I would assume he's going to be a liability. When you're just, I mean, if he was going against, say, we're talking about the Sixers and he's going against Danny Green or Seth Curry, I wouldn't be as worried about it. But when you're talking about some of the best scorers in the entire league, that does scare me. Offensively, he's just fine. I mean, he's going to hit 3-pointers very often. I think that'd be one I'd be looking at often to hit the over the 3s, in a game if I was a bettor. And so, no, I mean, defense, everyone's a liability when you're guarding them.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think we see Giannis trying to shadow KD at all?
I would assume so. I would think that you probably – I mean, but you also maybe you see if Bobby Portis is going to be playing minutes, maybe they want to get him on there, play a little, rougher style of basketball. So, try and get in KD's head and get him off his rhythm.
Yeah, I got PJ Tucker there as well. I mean, I wouldn't be putting him on KD, but he'll definitely grab some minutes in the paint because you could also slide Giannis back to the 3 and really open things up as well. It's just you're a little bit more exposed in the paint if that's the case. If someone's stretching him to the corner or anything like that. So yeah, I like the without any numbers again. I still like the Bucks to come out of this one. The odds favorite by the sports books still have the Nets as the favorite to win it all, go to the finals, and come out of the East. But I just think that it's just it's a bad spot, bad timing. You're going up against the Bucks who have been sharp all year long. They've all been playing together. I know that KD, Harden, and Kyrie have had success every time they play together so far in the playoffs, but it's still limited, right? And at the end of the day, they're just a team that's living and dying from the shooting. And I feel like the Bucks have that defense that can go over the top of them. Anything else to add in there, Steve?
No, I mean, I'm opposite of you, though. I think the Nets will win that in 6. I think it'll be a good series, though.
Yeah, fair enough, and it's really tough. The odds makers, they're not really taking that big a stand. They've made the Bucks the underdog, but not by much. We just said, to come out of the East, -150 for the Brooklyn Nets, plus 260 for the Bucks. That could be game 1 opening line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, maybe not plus 260 for the Bucks.
Probably
Probably
a little high, but no,
probably
I
plus
mean,
like 110, 112, 120, something like that. But still, like that's not that far off. Just in general, if you asked me what the line was for the whole series, it's probably pretty similar. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
What do we think about? I guess we already kind of mentioned that. Who Utah would take on. If they were, or just in the next round in general. But we're pretty much full assurance that they're going to beat either the Clippers or Dallas in the next round, right?
Yeah, I think there's no chance. I mean, that anyone beats them. I think right now they got to be a favorite to just win this entire West by a large margin. I don't see Portland, if they move on somehow, if they win the next two. I mean, they just struggle with the Denver Nuggets. I think the Jazz are heaps and bounds better than the Denver Nuggets. Phoenix, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I mean, we've seen Utah be able to put up 100 and what they put up last game, 135 or something, I believe. And then we've barely seen Phoenix crack 115 points. I get it that some of that comes into play with how the Lakers, the pace of play and how good defensively are. But aside from Devin Booker, who's scoring on this team? DeAndre Ayton hasn't been really doing it. Chris Paul puts in, you never know what he's going to get, but you're never going to get a 24-point game from Chris Paul. Macau Bridges, like I said, he's really hovering around the 13 points. So, I mean, it's a team effort for them. I just don't think that they could stay with them. I think this is the Jazz's thing to lose right now for sure. And that's obviously with them being a one seed, I'm just taking chalk. But, hey, they've proved it.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So let's say the Jazz do make it. Bucks, Nets, 76ers. Who beats them out of the East?
Brooklyn. I don't know if I could put Milwaukee, but, for you'd probably say Milwaukee, right?
I just don't know because they have, like I said, they have everything you need. You have interior defense.
Have everything.
You have perimeter defense. You have outside shooting. I mean, they have they don't have stars, but they have fourth quarter scoring, which is what you need.
Yeah.
And that's really it. Like with the volume of 3-pointers that they shoot, if they can continue that efficiency and that success through all of these rounds, like they've done all year, I think they just win it all.
No, yeah, like you said, they have everything. They got, Donovan Mitchell gets it done. Then you have Rudy Gobert, who's what we said the Clippers are missing. He's that guy who's in the post and he's creating havoc down there constantly. And then a bench. You got a bench there also. You got Clarkson coming off it. You got plenty of guys there who can fill in with the next man. And I think we've been saying it damn near all year on this show. Just finding the next guy, whether it be the next pass, moving the ball up court on transition, whatever it is, they do it. So I think this, right, and it's crazy to even say this, but it's probably their entire playoffs to lose right now.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Donovan Mitchell has played one game less than everybody else. He still leads his team in scoring. That's everyone was expecting. I know I was I don't know what to expect from Donnie Mitchell coming back. He's got to come back and show us. He's come back and he's shown us, right? They missed the first game. It was kind of precautionary. He didn't like that. Maybe that's spruced some of the action here. He's shooting 45% from the floor, 40% from 3-point land, 90% from the free throw line. What can you ask, from your A1 player, right? Jordan Clarkson off the bench is the second highest scoring player, 93 points. Bogdanovich, 92. Mike Conley, 87. He's shooting 46%. Rudy Gobert is shooting 77% from the floor. I mean, all these guys, Royce O'Neal, 50% from the floor. Joe Ingles, 40% from the floor. And the 3-point shooting, it just won't end. 40% for Mitchell, like I said. 23% for Jordan Clarkson off the bench. 43% for Bogdanovich. Good God, 54% for Mike Conley. Rudy Gobert refuses to shoot, though, so his is at 0. Royce O'Neal, 53%. I can go on and on. Joe Ingles is at 35, but he shoots a lot of threes in volume. They just have every layer that they need right now. Unless there's a big injury, I just can't see anyone taking them down in 7 games, and they've got the home court advantage every level of the playoffs. Other than maybe No, they wouldn't. They have a better record than anyone in the East. What am I saying? Like, it's their playoffs to lose. You're absolutely right. They're at plus 375 to win it all. I think we need to start heading that way.
Yeah, I think you got to throw something on there just now. I mean, that's a great number for a team that looks like they're going to dominate the West. And then you're really seeing there's a bunch of flaws with teams in the East, whether it be the Sixers, the Nets, even Milwaukee. They got their issues.
They have holes. Yeah, everybody has a hole. I can't find one in Utah, so we got to get running to that plus 375 before the number gets corrected as we start the next round. I'm looking at we're going to be kicking it here. Appreciate everybody who rode with us tonight. We got Denver and Portland right now, just starting. Excuse me, Denver up 6-5. I saw Campazzo. He shot the opening basket and missed a three. I was like, not Campazzo baskets. Nurkic bodying up Jokic here in the paint. Not having any of it. And
well,
Jokic
you know what?
Still drives and scores.
What's good here, I mean, like you alluded to earlier, keeping this game close right out of the gate and not going on down 8 to start it the first 2 minutes. That's going to come into a factor in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and actually on that drive, Jokic got a foul for charging, so he's already up a foul. And now Portland is up 7-6. Nuggets came back and got a basket. The live feed is telling me not the television. But, for instance, in this game still, the Trailblazers are so favored. Now live, they're minus 231 money line. They're up 9-8, but they're still a minus 5.5 favorite. So the books are buying in that the Trailblazers are going to win this game pretty handedly.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Austin fucking Rivers. Guys.
Hey, speaking of Austin Rivers, that last shot he got, it was, I think, at the end of the first overtime, he did put the shake on Damian Lillard. It's just like he doesn't have that shooting stroke like Damian Lillard does. He put a nice move on him. I was like, damn, that was impressive.
He started the game with like 2 or 3 for 3 from 3-point line, so he had the stroke going. And it's funny you mentioned that Rivers, messed with him or bodied him up or whatever. Campazzo did the same thing to him in the last game. It was in the first quarter, mind you, when Denver was really laying it on thick. But Campazzo drove, did a stutter step, and Dame just kept going. It was great. It was great. Some whirling dervish hashtags there. Got Aaron Gordon going to the line. Got a tie game now. 9-9. Looks like they're going to probably take a lead here. And I'm expecting a lot of lead changes. So if you guys are looking to bet something live here, I think that Denver could probably keep it close. I really don't hate them at plus 5.5. That's a much bigger number that you're getting. So I don't hate that, but I still think the Trailblazers take home the win tonight.
That one thing I was going to ask you before we head out here. I know you were on the Trailblazers to win. Did you? Were you on the spread there?
No, I took them money line, so I'm favored there. And I didn't get the best value. I can pull it up here really quickly. I know it was minus 2 something. So let's see. I got minus 210. They're at minus 231 now, and then I got the Suns at plus 3. I wanted to take a money line for the juice for the plus 110, but if I can get them the way that they've been looking with a 3-point edge, I'll take it all day. I'll take it all day. I'm going to pull up really quick and see if either of my guys hit threes yet for Jokic and Covington. Take a quick peek here.
No for Jokic, and then let's see for Covington. Nothing for Covington yet.
It's early.
It's early.
We need two.
These teams are like, I mean, shoot, we really might be looking at an overtime if, with these two teams. Because like you said, they're going to trade baskets back and forth.
Yeah, we'll hit those overs for sure then with the 3-point shooting. Was that Powell or McCollum? I think that was Powell just hit a 3. So, yeah, Portland now up 14-9. Looking good. But again, they're playing at home, getting off to that good start like we mentioned. So I'm confident in them. I'm confident they bring it home tonight. We'll see what we get here. You got anything to close it down?
No, let's go Suns.
Let's go Suns. I got the plus 3. Steve's got the money line. Steve, you got a little more risky tonight, but I like it. I love it. All right, we'll see you guys next time. Take care. Be well. Be good. If you can't be good at it. Later.